Oh my God, I'm not even doing it. Oh, I'm doing it now. Jimmy Barwick here, Tom's Outdoors. Here to read your nightly news. Nah. G'day, Jimmy Barwick here from Tom's Outdoors, and we are doing Way to Safety 101, Part 2, River Edition. In Part 1 of our Way to Safety, last time we were up on the Blowering Dam, identifying how we negotiate certain obstacles, how we can walk in the water with confidence. And today we're going to put it into a bit more of a realistic scenario in a flowing river. So today we're going to go through a couple of things: identifying where to cross rivers, crossing the rivers, using a wading staff, using a buddy or working in a team, expanding on shuffling our feet, not fighting the water, using it as your friend, working with the water. Zing, 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 zing. One of the first things that we're going to sort of take away from this, probably one of the most critical, is how deep is the water that we're trying to cross, and that's very closely followed by how fast is that water flowing. Vast majority of us probably have stood in a river at some stage in our life, or maybe we do it very regularly, and it doesn't take much to find out that water can be up to your shin or knee and have an extreme amount of force pushing back on you. That is amplified the further that you get up, the more surface area that you are presenting to the river, and can make wading extremely difficult and dangerous across the board. It can be a petrifying thing. So here we are, and I can see there's a nice big flat gravel bar. As we sort of mentioned earlier, the vast majority of the water in front of us, or the ground in front of us, is really clear and very wadable. But for purpose sake, for the educational, we are going to put it in a realistic situation. I want to get across the river. I feel more confident fishing with my right arm up the stream. So I'm going to look at where I can cross the river here. Directly up in front of us, you can see there's a nice V, and there's quite a bit of a deeper section of water that's running up there. Ideally, that's where I want to fish. So I'm going to look back here in this shallower riffle for where to cross. It's quite easy, so I'm going to pick a path and go on a nice 45-degree angle directly across the river. We're going to shuffle our feet across the bottom, and that is quite easily picking them up just up above the rocks, sliding them across until we've got a sure footing, planting that foot down. Yep, it's solid. I can pick up my left foot now and move forward. As we get across here, our water depth isn't going to increase very much, but hypothetically, if it did, you do not want to bring your legs too close together. Bringing them too close together is going to increase the surface area that you are holding in the water, and in turn incur more force on you, making it more difficult to walk forward, or even in extreme events, pushing you backwards in the river, losing your footing, and then potentially you go in the water. The Tumut River, fortunately for the trout and unfortunately for me today, is at about 11.5 degrees, and you don't want to go in it.
Okay, legs are floating, the voice has gone up.
One of the key things here that I'm focusing on is looking down at where my feet are going. The water here is gin clear. I'm able to see absolutely everything. So I can really make sure that each one of my feet is going exactly where I need it to between rocks. If I can pick the gap in a certain stone like that there, I'm going to make it across. And you can see here I'm actually getting quite a bit of water force. I'm making sure to keep the gait and my stance nice and open, not bringing my feet too close together, and gradually just shuffling my way. Here I'm beginning to get into the eddy of the bank. You can see slower moving water as it's funneling down this run here. The water pressure is decreasing, although my depth is increasing, and I now feel a lot more confident and a lot more safe. I've safely gotten across the river and I have no water force pushing on. That's an easy way of doing it. Now that I've made it across the river, I've done the fishing. Maybe there was fish here, maybe not, it doesn't really matter. I need to get back across to my car, to wherever I've parked, potentially just to get through another section. I'm going to go across the river. Now, after just learning, the section for the next 10 meters in front of me is actually moving a little bit faster and is a little bit deeper than I first anticipated. So instead of fighting up against the current, I'm actually going to turn myself now. I'm going to face downstream and I'm going to walk gently on a 45-degree angle back towards where I am. I'm then going to have the water pressure helping me to get down the river. and I'm not going to be fighting it in that sense. I also do want to make sure as I get into the deeper water that my gait, my stance stays wide. I don't put my legs too close together because that is just going to help to push the legs out from underneath. So we're going to make our way across now. And immediately I can feel walking downstream, it is much, much easier to go with the current than what it is to go against it. Again, I'm sliding my feet into the slots in the rocks that I can see very clearly. It's making life very easy. Muddy water, dirty water, disturbed water really requires a lot more of attention to be paid in searching with your feet as you are shuffling across. You really don't want to walk, as we explained in the first video, as if you're walking on land. One footstep after another, trusting each step as if you're walking on dry concrete is a recipe for disaster. One thing to consider while wading, trying to keep your body facing upstream while shuffling yourself across. You don't want to turn your hip to face up, body facing where it is, straight across the river. What ends up happening if you're in fast flowing water and deep enough water, as you pick one leg up off, the water force will push it down across your body. Even then, right there, I've got one leg back upstream here and the other leg downstream. It's extremely unstable. Another scenario which happens is if I pick up one leg, especially in front, it gets pushed over in front of the other foot again, and you end up just getting crossed up. You will sort of trip yourself over. Probably the best method in faster moving water, which is where you're going to need to utilize this, is keeping your legs apart, one step after another, sort of shuffling in unison. It's probably the easiest, most assured way of getting across the river. So now we're going to utilize a wading staff, or in my case here, one of my hiking poles. You could use a stick if you need to use a stick. The collapsible sort of Z fold series of the wading staffs are fantastic. They have their own recessed pouch on a retractable cord. Really, really nice, purposefully made for the job. This is a means to an end, something that I would use if I was hiking into the backcountry as a walking pole, number one, and number two as a wading staff. It just doesn't come down that small, but it still works. You hear quite a few people say that they will get told off for using wading staffs because they have a metal tip or a tungsten tip. Yes, it does make noise. You can hear it quite clearly clinking onto the bottom, and yes, it probably would scare fish off in certain scenarios, but if safety is at play or scaring fish, look, I'm gonna take safety. What we're gonna do in amongst this, same scenario, it's just we are now acting as a tripod. We're always having 2 points of contact on the ground at any one time, as opposed to before only having 1 point. So they really start coming into their own, the wading staffs, when you get into deep, fast flowing water. As I get out here in the current a bit more, it's going to increase in the pressure and make it a little bit more difficult, making the pole more useful. So now I have my friend here, Chloe, and we are going to cross the river together. For situationally based, if you're with somebody who might not be as experienced or just getting into fly fishing as Chloe has been over the last season, crossing a river when it's fast flowing can be quite a daunting task and really limits you to what areas you can and can't fish. So now we're going to go together and get across the river. What do you reckon, Chloe? What I'm going to do, being more confident, I'm going to take your rod for you so that you don't need to worry about holding it. And what I'm going to get you to do is hold onto my arm as if we were going to the ball together. Right, that's it. You're going to lock yourself in, and we're going to go through that same process. Okay, we're going to pick one leg up and put him down. We're going to shuffle across. I've got the wading staff here with me, although I'm not going to use it until I get out into the deeper water. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good.
Good? That's the way? Secure? Perfect. And I'm going to actually change my hand over now. I'm going to use my lead hand for the wading staff. Chloe's still holding on, and I'm going to use that third point of contact, put it down, shuffle my feet. Chloe's going to shuffle her feet. The whole time we're looking down for where our next feet are going to go to, and we are consistently making our way across the river. You can never be too proud to hold another bloke's arm. If you need help, like, no one's going to judge you to get back across the river. You know, if you need a hand, then you need a hand. Not saying that you need help. I like that you put a caddis on too, good work. So they say that two's company, three's a crowd, but not in this scenario when we're going to cross a river that we're unsure of. We are going to make a wedge. We're going to utilize everybody together in a triangle shape to divert the water. We're going to put the strongest wader or largest person potentially at front to disperse the current around, and everybody else is going to fall in behind. Make this formation. I guess it's sort of like the flying V or the Mighty Ducks. We're going to create a triangle at the front. I'm going to stand here. Pat, you're going to come and jump on my left shoulder. You're going to put your hand up on and link in. Okay, Chloe, you're going to jump up on the side here. As the water depth starts increasing here now, I am in theory dispersing a bit of the current. And so long as Pat and Chloe stay in behind me here, they use me as force. They're supporting me up by adding a bit of pressure on the back. I'm shuffling my way across, and in turn they're shuffling at the same time just behind. As the water starts to increase here, let's say that I'm getting pushed back. You guys can actually help support me up. That's exactly it. There we go, I've got my footing again. I'm going to continue to shuffle. I'm going to use my staff, one foot after the other. So now we've made it past the heaviest and deepest part of the river. We're going to try and find our eddy. That's what we're aiming for here. There we go, and we are across safely. Now it's every man for himself on the way back down. No. We can utilize the same technique getting back down across the river. We would try and move just on a right angle directly across the river. I wouldn't say to work up the river. All right, water depth is decreasing, so is the current. Oh, Pat, hold on. Hold on, Pat. So that's a way in which you can utilize the wedge. Remember, create that formation at the front, the nice V. Strongest person or most competent there leading, and everybody else falling in line, working across the river. Cheers for watching Way to Safety 101 Part 2, moving flowing water. Hopefully you're able to take away a few skills and utilize them into your daily or weekly fishing routine. If there's anything else you would like to see us broach on as a topic or think that we should be doing different, please feel free to drop a comment below. We'll get to it and see if there's something we can do with it. Cheers, thanks for watching. By popular demand, I've been requested to actually get in the river here and do a demonstration of what to do in moving water, just so that everyone is aware that Tumut River is somewhere between 11.5 and 12.5 degrees. It is freezing cold. Ambient air temperature is below 20, well and truly. But for the love, we're going to do it and do an accurate sort of demonstration of what happens when you fall into moving water. I'm going to bring my knees up to my chest, trapping air inside my waders, and I'm going to use that to scull backwards gently, find my feet on the ground again, and that's going to be happy days. Hypothetically, I've stepped off a ledge, I've gone deeper than what I need to be. Right, we're over. Oh my God, I'm not even doing it. Oh, I'm doing it now. Oh. Okay, legs are floating, the voice has gone up. Treading water, backwards, gently. Woo! Okay, and feet down. I'm Jimmy Barwick, Tom's Outdoors, come and see us. Snowy Valleys, Tumut. Thank you. All the noise that I made about that, it isn't actually that bad. Not that great, but it's not that bad.